Pac-12 is the focus on the week. We got two of the top four in the conference dueling it out for a spot in the Pac-12 championship. What's up, YouTube? It's Team Money. Welcome to week 12 of college football predictions. I actually have Elijah with me this time because we got something that we actually need to let's just get it addressed, get it out of the way, so that way we don't have to worry about it later on. So what was it? It happened last week before. It happened last week prior to their basketball game versus Northern Iowa. It happened the morning of, I believe. Um, but the University of Virginia was struck with a tragic event that we hope no one has to go through, and that was a shooting that happened just off of campus. The shooter was a pre was a former player, and he killed Lavelle Davis, Deshaun Perry, and Devin Chandler. Our thoughts and prayers go out to the University of Virginia community, and yeah, just we. It sucks that this is the second incident that involved players or a player of a college team that ended up passing away. There's one that happened. There was one that happened in Oregon this year, if I remember correctly. But
That was Spencer Webb, their quarterback or their tight end. I think got in a car crash and passed away. But
yeah, so
yeah,
college football gets struck with another heavy loss. But yeah, our thoughts and prayers go out the uh to the community of Virginia, and I'm pretty sure Coastal's sending them out as well. Yes, they were supposed to be pissed off at each other on a football field, but I think they'll accept the fact that they're not playing a game this week due to the fact. But beside the point, let's get into the predictions. We're starting off with SMU and Tulane. Looking back at last week's game for Tulane, uh, just nothing else you could have done. It was a close game down to the end, and then just one mistake, and UCF did pull off the win. Uh, and looking at SMU, they're coming off four straight wins. This is conference. This is the tail end of the conference. You got it's battle of the top five here. So it's Tulane, SMU at 3 and 4 in the conference. You could make a prediction that SMU does pull off a win, and on because SMU is one of those colleges that you never know. You know what I mean?
yeah, they get really no media recognition. So
Yeah. The only media recognition they actually get is when they play TCU, and that's actually a major rivalry. I think that's even a trophy game, isn't it?
I'm not sure. I couldn't tell you.
Well, I'll look it up later on. But I'm actually gonna I've stuck with Tulane ever since they made ever since they became ranked. Is it? I probably shouldn't, but I'm gonna stick with Tulane here. It's uh,
Yeah, I was debating on my head if I was gonna go with the Mustangs, but nope, I am gonna go with Tulane.
Man, the team out of New Orleans. That game's gonna be interesting because um if like I said, looking at the conference standings, it's still wide open between UCF, Cincinnati, and Tulane. We don't have a straight front runner. So that image will come into focus later on uh, over the weekend with Cincinnati and UCF already playing earlier in the year. But yeah, that image is not fully set yet. Speaking of UCF, that's actually the 10 o'clock game. They take on the Navy midshipmen. Uh, that one, I think that one's going to be a little obvious because Navy hasn't been good all year. They did play their rival in Air Force very closely, though. They do have Army later on in the year, and uh, yeah. Okay. So yeah, I'm gonna pick the UCF Knights here on this one. I it's gonna if UCF can pull off a win, or if Navy can pull off the win, this will be the team that they need to do it against. But the Navy, I think Navy is an FBS independent, if I'm not mistaken. No, they are. Oh, they're also conference. Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah,
last week picked UCF. I'm
yeah.
gonna say that Navy possibly played their best loss of the season last week. They scored 16 in the fourth quarter against Notre Dame. They looked out of it. I watched the end of the game and they looked out of it. They was back, but yeah, I'm gonna go with the Knights.
I will say the spread there is 16 and a half. So if that persuades anything.
I think Navy covers, but they lose ultimately.
Yeah. Uh Navy automatically out of the bowl, no longer bowl eligible with them being at 7 losses, but you get what you get sometimes. I'm pretty sure Navy will bounce back next year. They always have a great team the following year. Uh, okay. Next up, you have undefeated number third ranked Michigan hosting Illinois. This one was going to be a great game with Illinois being ranked earlier in the year. Uh, but I think it was two losses that struck them.
Yeah, their loss last week to Purdue.
And then 2 weeks ago to Michigan State.
Yeah,
So
really catapulted them out of the top 25. And this game is monumental in the Big Ten West race and the Big Ten East because if Michigan wins, then they're 11-0, and Ohio State's not playing a very good Maryland team. So that'll set up for next week a really good game between Michigan and Ohio State, but they cannot look past this Illinois team. Everyone is looking to fight to get back in the win zone.
I will say, I will say, Michigan, if they do look at this as a look ahead game, and they get caught, that means that look ahead game has to be a win because it's Ohio State next week down in Columbus. So
Yeah,
who do you got? Who do you got?
I am going to go with the Wolverines because I think they don't look past this game and then handle their business and move on undefeated to the big house next week.
I'm agreeing with you on this one. It's just if like I said, if Michigan uses this game as a look ahead game, they're in trouble. Absolutely in trouble. Because Illinois is that because if you look at some of Illinois' wins, their ugliest win, and I'm pretty sure you can agree with this as being a Hawkeye fan, was that Iowa game. That was their ugliest win all year.
I was broadcasting the game that night. I didn't watch it, but I listened to the end of it, and you just got to think if Riley Moss's scoop and score like 90 yards got held up, and that was a touchdown for Iowa. How this Big Ten West race would look, and then be a win for Iowa and a loss for Illinois. Man, that's something that's replayed in Iowa fans' head all season long.
I will say if you look at the Big Ten at the Big Ten West, it's Purdue, Illinois, and Iowa. Somehow a weak Iowa offense has a shot at a division title. It's kind of shocking on that.
We'll get to this when we cover when we do the
Yeah. We'll get to that when we go. Yeah. Austin P and Bama. I don't even think we have to talk about this. But I will say the timing of this game is absolutely atrocious. But we're not going to get into that. We aren't Bama fans. We are not going to talk about this game. We're just going to pick Bama because, well, Austin P doesn't have a shot. I would be surprised, though, if this game does end up going Austin P's way. I would be surprised. Because Austin P is 7-3.
not going to pick them in the upset they played a week ago. I looked at it. It's not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, you have a very key Big 12 matchup in TCU and Baylor. Now, me being the Iowa State fan here, this is the game that I need to look at as if I need to look and see how Baylor can play TCU, because if Baylor plays TCU to a point where they only lose by a few points, Iowa State just needs to mimic that. I'll get to that later on when we pick that game, but I'm looking at this game. TCU is already in the conference championship. They're basically almost automatic into the CFP unless something drastic happens.
They aren't gonna make it if they lose one more game. They have two left. They aren't gonna make it if they lose one more.
Well, they could still make it if it's a close loss.
They're a good Big 12 team and a weak Big 12 conference. They aren't gonna make it if they lose to either Baylor or the next biggest opponent, which is Iowa State.
Yeah.
If they lose to either Baylor or Iowa State, they aren't making it.
And I will get to that. And I will get to that later on because I do want to bring something up when it comes to Iowa State. But I think it's just too easy of a prediction here. Baylor, yes, Baylor played. I'm always gonna refer to Big 12 teams when they play the team I root for, which is Iowa State. Uh, Baylor and Iowa State played a really good game. Yes, there was some questionable calls. That's every team's gonna get that. I was rewatching the North Carolina Wake Forest game, and there was a targeting call that really made me question. So officiating this year has just been god awful. But with that, I'm gonna stick with my gut here. I'm gonna pick Hypnofrog as it's now coined down there in TCU.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with you. I'm gonna go with TCU.
Alrighty. Next up, you have Florida State and Louisiana. Okay, hear me out on this one. Hear me out on this one. Florida State is not gonna make the is definitely not gonna make the ACC championship game. That's oh no, this is wait what? Yeah, Florida State's not making the ACC championship game. It's automatically Clemson and North Carolina. So that championship is already set. But if we look at Louisiana here, actually no, never mind. They're not even in a shot. So this game literally is just if Louisiana wins, they're bowl eligible. If if they lose, they could still be bowl eligible. Yeah. Looking at Louisiana, they will play. I'm pretty sure it's Texas. It's Texas State, which makes no sense with it being rivalry week. I would have honestly thrown Louisiana Monroe in there, but that's just my opinion. Um, is it too easy to pick Florida State here? I'm pretty sure it is.
I don't know. The only time I saw Louisiana play was the COVID year where they played Iowa State. So
Yeah, but then again, that team. But then again, if looking at that year, um, the college football playoff literally wrote that game off like it was absolutely a joke. Like that game never existed. Yeah, we're gonna pick Florida State here. Got another Big 12 matchup coming up for you. I got Kansas State and West Virginia. West Virginia pulling off the upset of the Big 12 so far in beating Oklahoma. Now, I did say this earlier in the year. Oklahoma is not the same Oklahoma that everyone knows. So, look. So, if honestly, if we look at this game, West Virginia could put up an argument for an upset, but against the Kansas State team that, if I'm pretty sure if they win this week, they are in the conference title.
I don't know the conference standings for the Big 12.
Uh, look, I still got it here. Kansas State is 5-2, 7-3 overall. That's second place in the Big 12. They do have the win over Oklahoma State. So if Oklahoma beats Oklahoma State over the weekend and Kansas State wins, they're in the conference title. Because Baylor's not beating TCU. Let's be honest here. So I say they win, and with the TCU, oh crap, wrong one. And with the TCU prediction, I think it's a TCU Kansas State Big 12 title. Be the first time it won't be a team that's named Texas or Oklahoma.
I don't think that Kansas State travels to West Virginia
Ooh. I mean, it's not a bad choice because I mean, uh, it's not a bad choice because West Virginia has turned their corner at, has turned a corner. Even though their game against Iowa State, they really didn't show much fight, but that's just
Well, that game was battle of the mid, so
yeah, that was, and West Virginia's still mid. Let's be honest here. Okay, yeah, Oregon State and Arizona State in an afternoon slate out there on the down there in Arizona. This one, yeah, I was about to say, I think you meant to put Pink as your upset. Okay, looking at this one, you um Arizona State's just I'm so mad that Arizona State's not good anymore. I remember when they used to be like up there in like Pac-12 title conference conversation, but now they're just meh. So
I'm looking at this game, and based off the record, you would think Oregon State would blow them out, but they're only an 8 point favorite.
yeah, the only reason they're an 8 point favorite is because it's at Sun Devil Stadium down there in Tempe.
Right, but it's still 7-3 versus 3-7. It's gonna be on ESPN2, but I am gonna go with Oregon State.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with you on that one. There's just no chance. I mean, I hate saying that there's no chance for Arizona State, but I mean, what choice do you have? I mean, what real choice do you have? Like, let's be honest here. I'll grab that for you. All right. So next up, you have Boston College and Notre Dame. Um, this one definitely cannot be a look ahead game for either. Cannot be a look ahead for Notre Dame. Uh, I crap. I never looked at the record for Notre Dame. It is 7-3. So we'll fix that right here really quick. I just yeah, if Notre Dame uses this as a look ahead game for next week, Boston College can catch them, but it's Notre Dame. I don't see that this game is at Notre Dame Stadium, so it is in Illinois. So I'm gonna pick the Irish here. I don't see I don't see much of a fight by Boston College, even though they've officially been eliminated from uh bowl contention. Uh
Notre Dame with they escaped Navy last week. They upset Clemson. They upset Syracuse, and then the sophomore games for 3 games. Boston College was 2-7 going into last week. They upset number 16 at T State. Before that, they were on a 5 game skid. I think, especially with your track record picking Notre Dame games, I'm gonna go with the Eagles. Eagles of Boston College.
the only reason you're doing that is just because I'm 1-6 in picking Notre Dame games.
You may have a point, but yeah.
I mean, but Boston College. I mean, if I pull up the Wikipedia page of Boston College and Notre Dame, I don't think they've played that much. And if they have, I don't think Boston College has won any of them.
Especially with Notre Dame being independent. Yeah, they have probably played much.
Let me look at this really quick. Okay, so I was wrong. They've played how many? Six. Hold on. 16, 9. They've played 20. They've played 25 times, and Notre Dame has won 16 of them. So most dominant one was 30-11 in Chestnut Hill. That is Massachusetts. But yeah, with this game's being in South Bend, they've actually played uh the last 3 years against each other. So yeah. Moving on down, you have an SEC matchup: Georgia, Kentucky. Is this no? This isn't. Notre Dame has proven to both of us that we should have never picked Tennessee when Tennessee was down. Moving on down, you have Ohio State and Maryland. Again, The two freight trains of the Big Ten looking directly at each other. They are literally a week apart. I don't see. I really don't see Maryland doing much of anything against that Ohio State team.
Absolutely nothing. Ohio State's gonna just
It's gonna be like Iowa all over again. Jab, jab, jab. I know. But hey, I gotta get in my light jabs. You know what I mean? Y'all can throw the haymakers. I can. Let me get my light jabs in. I know.
Alright, let's go.
Okay, I got Florida, Clemson. You go ahead.
Um, with Miami and Clemson, let's hold up Miami. Clemson 9-1. Miami's 5-5. Clemson is the ninth-ranked team in the country. I think that's too high for Clemson. They're 9-1. They lost Notre Dame. That's too high. With Bama too, they're also too high. The spread is 19 in favor of Clemson. I just don't see how with Miami having their struggle that they've been having this season that Miami gets to win. I am gonna go with the Clemson Tigers.
I'm gonna agree with you. Miami has had Miami's had an up and down year, and if you look at uh, if you look at the history of these two teams, I think Clemson has dominated the most recent matchups between these two. Uh, but if you look back into the early 2000s, Miami was a flippin' freight train. Miami was the team that was always in the talks of national championship games. But ever since then, Miami's just dropped off the map, and Clemson has risen to the occasion to keep the ACC afloat. And we're talking already one member of the ACC title game. Yeah, I think Clemson keeps rolling with this. Uh, Take it away, Big Ten expert here.
The 11th ranked Nittany Lions traveled to Piscataway to take on a struggling Rutgers team. They are 4-6. They started 3-0. They looked like they were gonna shock the world and beat Iowa and get their first home win in Lord knows how long, but Iowa struggling at that time. They were 2-1, coming off the 7-hour or whatever it was game against Nevada. They went into Piscataway and dominated. Those runs were 26-10. Ever since then, they've lost since that game. They lost 6 out of their last 7. They beat Indiana. That was their first home win in the Big Ten since 2011. I want to say.
So while you were explaining that, I actually pulled up the Wikipedia page. Pop quiz for you. How many times has Rutgers beaten Penn State?
How many meetings?
How many? 32.
6.
Incorrect. Rutgers has only 2 wins against Penn State all time. The current streak is 15 in a row, going going all the way back to 1989. They took a break from 1996 to 2013 because uh 2014 is when they renewed playing against each other. And since then, it is from 2014 to 2021. Rutgers has yet to figure out the Nittany Lions. I think Rutgers is going to turn a corner and find a way to actually break the demon, but I just don't think it's going to be this year. I'm picking Penn State. Like, it's kind of sad to see Rutgers. We don't even have their record. That's how sad it is.
It's 4-6 if you wonder.
Yeah, it's kind of sad that this is also a team that Iowa State played in a bowl game. It was the Pinstripe Bowl back in 2011. No, yeah, I think it was 2011 because it was the Pinstripe Bowl. But yeah, moving on down, you have North Carolina State and Louisville. Uh, Louisville is not heavily flavored, but they have the higher percentage to win this game and they're favored by 4. This one could be a massive dogfight. In the Yes, it's ACC, but like it could go either way. You know what? I'm picking the upset here. I'm picking the upset. I'm going with Louisville. I I shouldn't because rank because I shouldn't, but the only reason I am is because Louisville is the home team. With and typically the ups.
I don't know if you mentioned this, but with NC State going off a loss to the aforementioned Boston College Eagles, I think they bounce back, go into Louisville, and handle their business quite easily, I might add.
Yeah, it could. I mean, it could be, but I'm looking at the spread, and it's 4 for Louisville right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it is. It's Louisville's favored by 4. So that's why I'm gonna pick the upset here. Um, I need some picks to go my way this year.
Oh, yeah. Oh, this week. Dude, you're down by what, 11? Yeah. That's, man, alright, let's go.
All
Let's
right. Next up, you got Cincy and Temple. This one's just too easy. It's 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 Cincinnati, and I mean, yes, Cincy at number 25 in the nation, but it's Temple at 3-7. Temple hasn't had a good year all year long. It's I'm picking the future Big 12 Cincinnati Bearcats.
Yeah, I just looked at that spread. I was thinking about picking the upset since 17 on this day.
Yeah. Moving on down, you have Georgia Tech and North Carolina. I think if North Carolina gets clipped here, Clemson's gonna look at Georgia Tech and literally scream, "Thank you." But I don't see North Carolina losing this game. Like Georgia Tech, yes, they finally did get their season turned around.
We mentioned this a couple times today. Look ahead games. Okay, this could be one for North Carolina that begin 9-1, already securing a spot in the ACC championship game. But with the spread being 21, and looking at Georgia Tech's last couple games, they lost to Miami. So I don't think that I think that UNC is gonna handle it quite easily at home.
And also, I do want to point out that the ACC championship game has officially been added to North Carolina's schedule. So I'm looking at that right now. So that's why I said North Carolina is officially into the ACC championship game. They do have their arch rival in NC State next week. That one's going to be a tough game, but
It's gonna be a tough game to pick some games. It was a rivalry week.
oh yeah, oh yeah. I just don't see North Carolina losing until then. So I'm picking the Tar Heels.
This next game is quite easy to pick.
It is. It is. It's Tennessee and South Carolina. I mean, we put in our faith in Tennessee when they went to play Alabama. Actually, I did because you didn't want the upset. I predicted Tennessee. Uh, but we both put our faith when they tried to go down to Georgia, and we regret our life decisions. Sorry, Georgia.
I will say, if TCU loses, does Tennessee jump South Carolina? Or
Tennessee
TCU jump TCU?
Tennessee will jump TCU if TCU loses, but Tennessee needs TCU to lose, or Ohio State or Michigan loses.
That could be tough. I think Tennessee sneaks their way back into the top four after next week.
Because two of the top four, because it's Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan, and TCU. It's literally one SEC, two Big Ten, and a Big 12 team.
Yep.
If Michigan or Ohio State is bound to lose a game. I mean, it's destined this year.
They play each other next week, so.
Hot take: Tennessee still somehow misses it. Their loss to Georgia is going to be so bad.
Some dick rating by the college football playoff.
But yeah, moving on down because I got to start booking it here. I got Ole Miss and Arkansas. This one is just, I mean, I could predict the upset here because Arkansas, it's only a 2.5 point favorite for Ole Miss, and it is at Razorback Stadium in Fayetteville, Arkansas. Arkansas coming off back-to-back losses, one of them being to a surprising Liberty team, which I even saw that when they were undefeated, and this dude's over here like, okay, what's your point?
I'm gonna go with Ole Miss.
Yeah.
I don't see them. I don't see Arkansas.
Like I said, you could see the upset. I didn't say there was going to be. I'm picking Ole Miss as well. That's gonna look terrible on the eyes, but I don't care. Alrighty. Big 12 taking center stage, 6:30 tonight. It's Bedlam. It's flippin' Bedlam. It's Oklahoma State. It's Oklahoma. These two teams flippin' hate each other. They do not respect each other at all. I actually saw the spread. Without looking, Elijah, can you tell me who the favorite is?
I mean, I would have to stink Oklahoma State.
With it being in Norman, Oklahoma is a 7.5 favorite over Oklahoma State. Not even kidding. It's a 7.5 favorite for Oklahoma.
Dude,
They're 2-5 in conference play.
No, Iowa State 26. What's your point?
Well, that might change this weekend. You know that. Okay, hold on. Looking at the Big 12 again. Oklahoma State. So it's a battle between Kansas State, Oklahoma State. Actually, no. Yeah. It's a battle between Kansas State and TCU at this point. If Kansas State gets clipped, don't they have the tiebreaker? Yes, they do. So Oklahoma State's going to need something drastic to happen, as in Kansas State loses back-to-back weeks. That is not happening. Let's be honest here. So if Kansas State they play Kansas. It could, but history says otherwise. Okay, so we're looking at this game right now because we're not talking that game. I'm picking Oklahoma State. You can't. I'm sorry. I can't. I can't side with a struggling Oklahoma offense that barely. That's. Hold on. Let me look at this. Let me look at this really quick. They beat Iowa State. Yeah, no, that was. Yeah, it was. It was 27-13. But look at 2 weeks ago. Look at 2 weeks prior to that. They lost. They got shut out by their most heated rival. And then they win against Kansas. That one was obvious. OU always will own Kansas. Iowa State's been playing them closely, but Oklahoma still has been clipping Iowa State, and then turns around and loses to Baylor and West Virginia. I don't see Oklahoma winning this game at all. Yeah, that's what I'm going. That's what I'm agreeing. So you're agreeing with me? Ooh, the lock of the week goes to Oklahoma State. Okay. All right. Moving on down. The one of two Pac-12 games that's gonna be key after this weekend is over. is USC and UCLA.
The two future Big Ten teams go at it in at UCLA this weekend.
Oh, that's right.
UCLA 8-2. The spread, in fact, favors USC 2.5 points. Looking at last week, UCLA got shot by Arizona, 34-28, and USC handled business against a struggling Colorado team. You go ahead and make your pick.
I'm like I said, I'm looking at the standings here as you're talking. USC, Oregon, Utah, UCLA. Yes, UCLA needs a lot to happen to get there. Utah, Oregon, and USC are in the top two spots, or within the top two. So if UCLA pulls off the win this weekend, mayhem is about to happen in the Pac-12. Mayhem's about to happen.
Kind of like how it's happening in the Big Ten.
Yeah. So I'm gonna say it is a 2.5 favorite for the Trojans down there in the Rose Bowl. I would really like to see USC get back to the Pac-12 title. I remember I don't remember this, but I always saw highlights of USC being the most dominant team in all of college football. If you know what I'm talking about, it was literally Texas and USC as the top two in. It was one year where it was Texas and USC.
A few years ago, I think it was either 2017 or 2018. Iowa had a somewhat down year. They ended the season 8-4. They played USC in the Pinstripe Bowl up in New York. A team that much improved. Obviously, they're 9-1. I'm gonna go with the Trojans here. They handled it.
UAB and LSU. Uh, this one LSU's are. Hold on. Has the SEC title game been confirmed?
SEC?
The SEC, has that been confirmed?
No. LSU, I think, has a guaranteed spot.
So then it is confirmed.
For one.
No, it is confirmed. It'll be Georgia LSU in the SEC title game. So LSU could honestly, well, I mean, I don't think they want to, but they honestly could rest their players, rest their starters for that game.
But there's 2 weeks until that game.
That's the other thing.
I think LSU goes to or defends the home turf against the Blazers of UAB, easily defeating the 5-5 Blazers.
I agree. So okay, so our final two games, both Pac-12. We got Colorado, Washington. I just don't flip and see Washington losing this game.
Colorado's terrible. To put it not nicely, I think Washington's gonna manhandle them.
You're gonna hate me for this. I'm gonna pick Washington as my lock because it's a little bit. I know, I know, I know. But hey, my upset is Louisville, so that could be wrong too. Your upset's West Virginia. Yeah, true. But I'm gonna pick Washington as my lock. I mean, actually no. What's the spread in that game? I probably should check that.
Probably a solid 28.
Actually, keep going. It's 31.
31?
It's 31. Okay, nope. Washington's just gonna be a normal pick. Washington's just a normal pick for me.
This next game could ruffle some feathers.
Oh, it's going to. Speaking of feathers, it's the Utah Utes at the Oregon Ducks. It's the final game of the night. I'm pretty sure, looking at the schedule itself. Actually, no, it's not the official last game of the night. There's two more after it. It's Fresno State at Nevada, and then UNLV at Hawaii. But we don't talk. But we don't talk about those two teams because, well, I mean, we could technically because Hawaii and UNLV is actually. Uh, oh, actually, yeah, you're right. Hawaii's 2-9. Never mind. So yeah, Utah and Oregon, our game of the week. Surprisingly, it's not Gus Johnson going to be on the call at this game. I don't know what game he's going to. Honestly, he could go to I think he's going to USC UCLA.
Yeah, I put my money on that. Or TCU Baylor.
Yeah.
Where's Fox Big Noon going?
I don't think Fox Big Noon's going anywhere this week. Vacation for week 12, right?
Yeah.
Announces fill-in pieces for. Oh no, they only announced fill-in pieces. That's not their location. They're not going anywhere.
No.
No. So
probably USC.
So I would 100% agree with USC. That'd be a really good game for Gus to call because he called some really boring football games this year. Let's be honest. But yeah, looking at this one is a massive flipping coin flip because you got Utah, who has played Oregon tough the past few seasons, and then Oregon, who just came off a loss to an arch rival in Washington. I didn't even know that was a rivalry until they actually said it was. But I look at this game and I think both these teams have a loss within their last 5 games. Oregon can't afford to go back to back.
Oregon's already out of the CFP.
Yeah, Oregon's officially confirmed out of the college football playoff due to the loss to Washington.
There's no way that they have any shot.
And Utah is out as well because they have 2 losses on the year as well.
But these teams could. This is a big game
in the Pac-12. Yeah. So I don't know what jerseys that Oregon's using. I don't know why that's important, but I don't know what jerseys they're using. I'm gonna assume they're gonna wear their black. They're black with yellow numbers. I assume. But I need a difference pick here. I'm gonna pick the better one here. I'm gonna take the Utes from Utah. I need a difference pick here because I do need. You were gonna pick Utah.
I was gonna pick Utah.
Yeah, I'm gonna pick the Utes here. I need a difference pick because I need to get back into this. Bowl games are gonna be a long ass list. Let's be honest here. We got 60. I'm gonna have to probably make that a stream in itself because that's gonna be at least.
There's 60-something bowl games.
Yeah, and we're picking all of them in one video, and I'm not gonna be able to do that within a video unless someone's willing to sit down and watch an hour-long video. No one's willing to do that.
No.
All right, so I got Utah. Who are you picking?
I was gonna go with the Utes, but you picked the Utes, so Oregon.
All right, now we're on to the Iowa games. The first game in the state of Iowa, going by times, is actually Northern Iowa traveling to South Dakota. Northern Iowa coming off the bye week after the game of the year, in my opinion. Just barely losing to South Dakota State, 31-28. That you and I played a fantastic game, a great game. I watched the end of that. If you and I did not get called for leaping, you and I had a chance to upset the number 1 ranked team in the FCS level. But they got called for leaping, and South Dakota State gets an easy 19-yard field goal, which won them the game. Moving over to South Dakota, just coming off the loss to North Dakota. South Dakota's had a bad year. It's been win-loss. The last 5 was loss, win, loss, win, loss. I don't know what the spread is on this because ESPN does not know how to add spreads to FCS games. But we're gonna pound. The Panthers are gonna pounce this weekend, and they're gonna take down the Wolfpack. No, the Coyotes. Interesting state to call them the Coyotes, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Panthers. Now let's get down to
okay. The battle for the Floyd of Rosedale.
Mm-hmm.
You take it.
So, Minnesota 7-3, Iowa 6-4. The records don't tell the story. I will say that the records don't tell the story for those two teams. Let's look at Iowa first with the big game of the week last week. Okay, so beating Wisconsin, beating Purdue quite handily. Both of the games were quite handily. Beating Northwestern 32-13.
I will say beating Northwestern's not really an accomplishment in the Big Ten anymore.
No.
Iowa State could literally walk into their building and probably drop 30 on them.
Oh yeah. Ohio State 54-10 loss. That our defense was on the field for 50 minutes of that game. I'm not kidding. And then the loss to Illinois the last 5 games. Let's go over to Minnesota. Okay. Beating Northwestern, beating Nebraska by a touchdown, shutting out a Charlotte Rutgers team, losing back-to-back games to Penn State, 45-17, and then ranked Illinois 26-14. This game has massive implications in the Big Ten West. Massive. Iowa, who no one thought was even going to make a bowl game, now has a chance to go back to Indy. If 2 things happen, okay? They need Illinois to lose to Michigan, which is probably going to happen. Then they need to win out. And this game is the major game on a lot of people's schedules for Iowa fans this week because Nebraska is not doing that hot. They'll probably beat Nebraska easily in Kinnick. I am going to go with the Hawkeyes because
I want to add something. I want to add something really quick.
It's good. I'm not done. Phil Parker has gone on the record and said Iowa has had 3 great practices leading up to Minnesota, and the Iowa's star defensive lineman Noah Shannon has gone on the record and said Northwestern has a very similar defense to Minnesota, and you saw how Iowa did on the defense. So I'm gonna go with the Hawkeyes. You're probably gonna pick the Golden Gophers.
Let me throw something out there really quick. You also forgot the fact that Purdue is leading your division.
No, they're not.
Yes, they are.
Illinois, Purdue, and Iowa are in a 3-way tie for first place.
But if you looked at so then why is Iowa down in 3rd?
Because it's a tie for first place.
No, Purdue.
Yeah,
hear me out. Looking at Purdue. Let me look at Purdue's record. Let me look at Purdue really quick.
Purdue records don't say shit.
Well, they will. Hear me out. Purdue has the win over Illinois. Purdue has the win over Illinois.
It's conference records.
Yes, that's what I'm looking at. Purdue has the win over Illinois. Illinois has the win over Iowa. Iowa is currently sitting at 3rd because of that.
Nope, it's tied for 1st. It does not go based head to head.
Yeah, it does.
Not until tiebreakers.
Well,
right now, it's a 3-way tie for first place.
Well, I'm looking at tiebreakers because it's that time we gotta start looking at that. Looking at tiebreakers, Purdue has the tiebreaker.
We're not looking at. It's not tiebreaker time yet.
Yeah, it is.
It's not the end of the season.
Then why is Purdue at the top of the West? Look at the Big Ten. Look at the standings on ESPN. Look at the standings on ESPN, dude. Purdue is the top team in the Big Ten West. Michigan and Ohio State, yes, they're tied because they haven't played against each other. That's
you,
why there's no
I'm telling you, everybody in the state of Iowa, in the state of Minnesota, and everywhere else in the Big Ten, but Illinois, thinks that Iowa is going to make the Big Ten championship game because they have the easiest path to the Big Ten championship game. Illinois, all they have to do is lose to Michigan, because then that would make them lose 2 out of their last 3 because of what the loss to Purdue. Iowa needs to beat Minnesota and then handle Nebraska. That's all they need to do. That's the easiest path out of everybody in the Big Ten West. That is the easiest path to make the Big Ten championship game.
Well, let's say Purdue also wins out.
Doesn't matter.
Well,
because Iowa has head-to-head.
Oh, they said head-to-heads don't matter.
At the end of the season, it does.
Okay, but we're at the time where we need to start looking at that. If Illinois, I'm not saying Illinois is not losing. I'm not saying Illinois is not losing to Michigan. I'm not saying that because Illinois could possibly literally lose to Michigan. Because
it's gonna be a blowout.
Yeah, but let's entertain the fact that Illinois does. Iowa's screwed. If Illinois wins, Iowa's not making the Big Ten title.
Nope.
So.
Nope, they're not.
But you cannot use Minnesota as a look-ahead game. I'm going to refer to that again.
Absolutely not. We've mentioned that before. I'm gonna take this one. If Iowa has the mentality of the media thought we were fucked. 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago we were 3-4. The media thought Iowa was gonna go 3-9. Okay, that's the mindset that Iowa has. Iowa, as a whole, offense, Brian Ferentz, defense, Phil Parker, special teams, LeVar Woods, is taking this game by game, realizing what they could have a possible rematch with Michigan in the Big Ten championship game.
Okay, I do want to ask something. I do want to ask you something. I just pulled up the history. Who has the current win streak in Iowa, Minnesota?
Iowa 7-0. 7.
Okay. When was the last time Iowa lost?
Oh, that would have been 2013 or 14. 14. 14.
What was the score of that game?
I don't know.
It was 51-14. That was Iowa's worst. Actually, no. That was Iowa's worst performance since their matchup in 1936 when Minnesota dominated 52-0.
I will say it's fine that we're recording on Wednesday this week because we usually record on Thursdays and do it on Friday. Anyway, because it's a Thursday game we're going to get on Wednesday. Anyway, today is actually the 20-year anniversary of Iowa going to the Metrodome. It was the Metrodome, beating Wisconsin, winning the Big Ten, and tearing down the goalpost. I'm going with Ohio.
I'm also looking at history here, because if we look at Wikipedia, Iowa has yet to have this big of a stretch when it comes to Minnesota.
Yep.
This is the longest win streak for Iowa in the series.
Yep.
But the record is still 12 held by Minnesota.
Yep.
Both these teams have fantastic defenses. Because
I think Minnesota, as of last week, I think I set the graphic to you. Minnesota averages the least points per game in the nation. But Iowa before last week was I think 3rd or 4th, and they are 1st in the nation in yards allowed per game.
This game is going to come down to which defense is going to break.
Oh yeah. The weather is supposed to be 19 degrees with 20-mile-an-hour winds. It's gonna rely on defenses. It's gonna be a low scoring, old fashioned Big Ten game between Mr. Row the Boat, PJ Fleck, and the GOAT, Kirk Ferentz.
I'm trying to find an argument that gives Iowa the edge. If Brian Ferentz actually finally finds a brain up in his dumb noggin that he's got, and I'm pretty sure you can agree with me when I say that.
He did against Purdue. He did against Purdue.
Yeah, but last week was
on the offensive line. You didn't watch that game, so you don't know. No. But that game was on the offensive line.
Yeah. There's arguments that say both Iowa and Minnesota wins this game. No question about it. But I did say this about Iowa's bowl record and make it in like wins in a row.
6-4.
I know. They made 6 in a row and then they lost to Kentucky. A streak has to end. One streak did with the Iowa State's claiming the Cy Young Trophy.
That was
controversial.
That was the last good win.
Miss PI, but then again,
offensive pass interference. Yeah. I was at the game. I was at roughly the 10-yard line. I got a great view of that, and he definitely pushed off.
Even though he didn't really push the body, it was hand fighting the whole time.
It was, but next year when we go back into Jack Trice and kick ass,
we'll see. Maybe we actually figure out our offense.
We won't be talking about. We won't be talking about.
We won't talk about that tonight. But
anyway, pick your pick.
I want to side with Iowa so badly because I like seeing trophies stay where they're at, except if it's the Cy Young Trophy, obviously. But every sign is pointing towards Minnesota because if you, I'm saying I want to pick Iowa, but what. Their offense has not proven to me that they're able to actually get one.
This is a good segue. To the next game. Neither has Hunter Deckers and the Iowa State Cyclones as they host the Texas Tech Raiders.
Okay. Let me throw something out there really quick before you actually make your pick. Iowa State knows how to beat Texas Tech. They know how to beat them. Looking at the history. Looking at the history here, let me pull it up because this one might actually surprise you here. Iowa State has beaten Texas Tech 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years in a row. And then 2021, Texas Tech got the final possession to kick the game-winning field goal.
So that counts.
But those 5 wins that I just referred to, who was the head coach?
Matthias Campbell.
Exactly. And I'm also going to throw this one out there. 2016 was the start of that 5-year stretch. Who was quarterback of Texas Tech?
Patrick Mahomes, I think.
Correct. Texas Tech had Patrick Mahomes. But with Texas Tech finally beating Iowa State, that was in Lubbock, by the way. So it's always hard to go on the road and win a game. It's always hard. We're not wrong about that, right?
I mean, the 7 years that Iowa beat Iowa State, they call it Jack Trice Stadium 5 times. So.
But all those games were at least a possession, except for 2021's matchup.
2015 was a 14-point for Iowa.
Oh, and 14. But yeah, it was. That's always a close game. You can literally throw the records out the window. You never know who's gonna win that. But if we look at the spread here, Senior day at Jack Trice, it's 3.5 for Iowa State, and Iowa State is a 66.5% chance of winning, according to the matchup predictor on ESPN. Iowa State, their Big 12 chances basically went out the door when they got screwed all year long.
They did not get screwed. They lost.
Well, hold on. Let me finish my statement. I was gonna get to that. They got screwed not only by the refs, but hold on. They also got screwed by their own form of play. If we looking at two key plays that could have easily turned the season around, Texas, the drop pass by Hutchinson, and then Oklahoma State, the drop pass by Jalen Noel. If both of those are catches, Iowa State at least has more points than 21 and 14.
I will. Okay. I saw a tweet. This was earlier in the season, so this was, I think, the OU week. I saw a tweet that said, "Stop defending Hunter Decker's poor form of play. Brock Purdy did not have the season this bad in his 3 years starting at Iowa State. Even his first year was better than Decker's."
Yeah, but then again, you can only get better by learning from the mistakes.
I mean, yeah, but how many mistakes has he had? Throwing 13.
True, but you also aren't counting his drops. That should have been caught. I mean, if you look at Hutchinson's catch back against Texas, that should have been easily a win. Texas should have been down there because we had a chance to win. We just got screwed.
Let's get into the picks here. You go with your pick.
You're probably gonna pick Texas Tech here, aren't you?
You go your first.
Texas Tech is the one team that I know that Iowa State can win the next two. That one, if Iowa State wins this week, they have an argument. They have a great chance to at least to get bowl eligible against TCU next week. Hold on. The only reason I say that is because the last few years, Iowa State has figured out how to beat TCU.
Yeah, but
we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that next week, though. I've got to regret doing this. I'm gonna pick Iowa State because if anything, Iowa State beat West Virginia, and they went undefeated in non-conference play. So, but if they make bowl eligible, then it's an absolute miracle. Because you also look at basketball, they did the same thing in basketball. Crappy conference schedule, but dominated the non-conference schedule.
Let's look at Texas Tech's last couple games. So they started out 2-0. They beat Murray State handily, and then they beat 10-ranked Houston in overtime. They lost to NC State, and they beat Texas in overtime. Iowa State lost to West Virginia. Beat West Virginia a couple weeks ago. It was a decently close game.
No,
Texas Tech beat them 48-10. And then Kansas, they beat Kansas also. Texas Tech did. Iowa State lost. They beat Kansas 43-28 last week. For that reason, only, I'm going to go with the Red Raiders of Texas Tech.
You just don't have the faith in Iowa State. Let's just be honest.
They're 4-6, dude. No, I do not have faith.
Yeah. You didn't have faith, and then when we played you, never mind. We're not gonna get into that.
I that's because it's Cyhawk, Alec. That's because it was Cyhawk week.
Yeah, but you said that it was gonna be a dominant win, didn't you?
I did not say that.
Yeah, I saw a lot of Hawk fans that said that the Cyhawk Trophy was leaving Iowa City this year. I did. That it was in the press conference.
After week 1, we had a short touchdown against San Diego State or South Dakota State.
Yeah, the number 1 ranked team and the number 1 ranked. Good God! Hold on.
Yeah, I don't know. That'll probably do it for this week's picks.
But yeah, all right. What do you guys think of the picks this week? I gotta get going because I got stuff I gotta go do. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments down below, and I gotta bounce out of here, guys. I gotta get going. So until next time, guys, I will catch you next week. See ya.